We are on filmsgonewild.com. My name is John Wildman, and we are at the San Pedro International Film Festival. And we have, I think, almost everybody involved with the making of this film that we're talking right now. Just People, which is actually making its world premiere at this film festival. We have with us Beverly Batzel, she's the director. Giana Califano, she's in the cast. Jessica Lucatorto, she's in the cast. Richard Eick, also in the cast, and those three are also producers on this project. So they all got skin in the game. All right. Now, we always start this off by having our director introduce the audience to the film. They haven't seen it as yet. So Beverly, you're up. Tell us about Just People.
Hi, well, thank you for the great introduction. My name is Beverly Batzel. I'm the director. And these are amazing, as he just introduced, but I want to introduce, amazing. Couldn't have done any of this without them, actors, but also producing at the same time. And a little bit about the film. One of my favorite things just in life in general is to create stories and tell stories that are real, raw, and relatable. And I think that from the moment of reading the script in the first place, and then our first kind of discussions when we were first talking about where we wanted to go with it, is making sure that it's relatable and it's just people, and it kind of really resonates with the title. And we wanted to create a story for people when they're watching it to be able to relate, and there are 4 different characters with 4 different stories to tell within a short amount of time, and they did an amazing job. And yeah, that's one of my favorite things about it, is that it's relatable, and what's more important than to tell stories that people can relate to, you know? So.
And in this story, we have 4 people that are having a little social gathering, and they have emotional and relationship changes within such a remarkably short time that you almost worry that somebody's going to pull a muscle. And it's kind of remarkable in that way, and incredibly enjoyable in that way. And it gives me an opportunity to talk about acting, because there's such a huge fucking challenge to be able to pull that off properly. And you know, and we have 3 of you here. The fourth, we're just gonna like talk about him instead. But let's talk about that challenge, because again, as you were saying, to make this relatable and make this believable and not make it a goddamn Lifetime movie. Hopefully none of you have been in a Lifetime movie. They're delightful, I'm sure. But in order to keep us, you know, there's really a weight on each actor's shoulder to be able to pull it off. So I would love for each one of you to talk about that, because again, you've got, you know, the slightest inflection change can make this high camp, or can make it serious drama. So talk about your own personal work with this young woman here to actually get that right.
Yeah, we talked about that quite a bit, actually. I think for me, it was really important. I play Frankie, and it was really important for me there's just this such duality in the character, and there's this mask that I think all of us have, a mask that we're all kind of wearing, and I think that speaks to kind of what people are, and just normally everyone has that mask in front of people and who they are really deep inside. And I think it was just, for me, it was important to just stay true to that and understand like why I am holding in all these secrets, why I don't let myself actually live the way I want to live. And I think that's where I kept everything really grounded, is in that Francesca versus Frankie part of myself. Yeah, that's where I lived, and it is true. I mean, we definitely went back and forth on the tone of the film, and I think it ended up being pretty grounded. And what I love so much is how towards the end you really see, especially these 2, they're more themselves when they're with each other than when they're with their significant others. So I really loved that.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, the duality with all of our characters, like you said, is extremely obvious, I think, throughout the film. And I played Lex. I think my goal, or I was, aspiring not to play this like caricature of this crazy, wild party girl that, because she really is so much deeper than that. And I think Frankie and Lex, especially with these three characters, actually, like, they've been in my life for so long, and being able to be myself more with him than my best friend. I think in those scenes with him, it was really a lot easier to ground myself in that, human part of me that isn't that just like surface level girl that so many people see. So it was really fun to experiment with that and ground her, but keep her like, fun life of the party girl.
Okay, so my process was interesting. I had a lot of fun with it. It was, I think, I remember talking to everyone really, but Beverly, about what he wants. And off the surface, you think he's married, he's with his wife and all that stuff, so maybe it's something there, but really he's looking at her the whole time. So I just stayed with that throughout, but also similar to her character, like life of the party, we connect on that level. He's sort of the buffoon of the group, and it was difficult because I got to let myself loose a little bit, which was fun, and I think we were like having a lot of fun doing that, talking about that, but having to live with the truth underneath, which is, he's feeling a certain way about someone who's actually very close, in proximity to everyone. So, I think overall, though, just staying true to the objective.
Something that I love when I'm working with a really good director is that, as an actor, you break down your script, you got your beats, things are making sense, there's common sense that you're going to, and a really good director can make a suggestion and go, oh, holy shit, that's so much better. Yeah, that's so much better. I'm an idiot. I thought I really had it, but I'm a dumbass. And you talk about a moment where, you thought you had a moment down, and just one word said, oh, yeah, that's a lot better. Let me try that. Is it, can any of you share a moment like that?
I can think of one, yeah. The scene that is outside between Jess and I was still thinking a lot about the lead up of my character being pretty drunk and still like that higher energy sort of thing. But like we were talking about, there is that switch in like the tonality in their relationship when they're alone. And yeah, Beverly made that suggestion to me while we were doing it, sort of just bring it back a little bit with the drunkenness, bring it back a little bit here. I'm in my head as an actor like, but I've been drinking this whole time. I need to be, So, yeah, it was just kind of like to have that real moment. And, we've already established that he's drunk. So just, let it sort of simmer there. You don't have to be showcasing that. So just like have the connection with her.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like in relation to that, like filming that scene outside was crazy. It was a wild experience, and Beverly was definitely able to come over and just say like, it's just the two of you. Just the two of you, and that was very helpful, like living in that space of, our little world and bubble that we've had for so many years, and just remembering like it's just us, focus on him. That's all you need. Yeah.
We actually did.
That was so helpful.
We did pickups on that scene.
We did.
Because the first day we started with that scene. The first day, and then I forget what it was. There was just like a bunch of hectic things happening in like every department. So, yeah, birds, like the grass was itching your back and all that crap. And then,
I had no voice.
so yeah, the third day we were like, let's see if we can get, squeeze in another, whatever, hour to try to capture what we were, let's focus on the acting, not like all this other crap that's going on. That was, remember that being a little hectic.
I do remember when it's the conversation that I have with Lex when we kind of go at it a little bit. And I remember Beverly really saying just like, allow yourself to be kind of a bitch. in that moment. Like in that moment, Frankie does a little bit of her mask cracks a little. And I remember that coming from Bev, and it was nice to get that. I was like, yeah, you're right. You're so right. I can be a bitch.
Okay.
Tap into that.
Yeah.
Now, Beverly, when you're directing multiple people in a scene, those actors oftentimes get to that place in a different way, in a different timeline. And one of the challenges as a director is trying to get everybody to the happy place for you as a director, even though they have different methods. Like, it takes her like 9 takes. She's hot on the first one. He still hasn't got his lines down. That kind of happens sometimes. Mm-hmm. Talk about how you balanced all 4 of the actors for you to get everybody, not on their singles, or over the shoulder stuff, but in the group shots to get in that kind of even space where you go, okay, we're all okay enough for me to move on.
Well, my gut answer, and the first thing that comes to my mind when you say that, is they made it extremely easy to, for one, stay in character the entire time, to where they're really staying in character when you're on character. You know what I mean? Some people may be like, well, the camera's not directly on me. So, and that's also, you guys are professionals, so there's a difference in there. But I feel like they made it very, first of all, I feel like in general they made my job a little bit pretty easy. They're fantastic. But I just think, I guess, I don't really have anything specifically in terms of group shots. A lot of our group shots were, I think, the oneer mostly. It was like the one with the opening shot where everyone was in. We just rehearsed and timed that like crazy, and we were all dialed in, especially for that, because it's the opening scene that we did it in just one shot. So that's really the only thing. And then in terms of breaking it up, everybody does things in their own timing, but I feel working with multiple people at one time in a scene, you just really have to pay attention to what is reading on camera and what they might need that they can't see. They're not watching the monitors, so they don't know what's coming through. So really, I think as a director, and I learned so much, especially filming that scene, because that was, woo, what a scene, 8 pages. To just really hone in on what I think that they might need, and really just right after we cut and go into the next one, I'm a quick resetter, run in, give that note real quick, and they would just fix it easily. So honestly, they kind of just made my job really easy on a crazy scene. Wow.
You guys, wait until after we're off camera before you give her the $20 for that. Okay.
We also, sorry, can I say something on that?
Yeah.
I feel like we also sort of rehearsed that oneer like a play. Yeah. So it really did feel like we were all just in our element the whole time. Mm-hmm. And we were all kind of on the same page. I think with all of our rehearsals beforehand too, we've clearly communicated to Beverly like what we wanted and vice versa. So I feel like kind of envisioning it as a play.
That was the easy part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last question, we have Beverly do this one. Also, when you're, once you get into editing, and especially with a project like this, where again, those emotional turns have to be really on point, otherwise the whole damn thing goes awry. Talk about that, because also sometimes you've got a 4-person cast and it's not like they can hear me, but like sometimes one actor you'll go, oh, this dude's popping off the screen, let me give him a little more screen time, or or she's killing it, maybe we emphasize the story, those kind of things. But this is so well balanced between all 4.
Thank you. I agree.
And and so talk about that, that process editing to make this what it ended up being.
I guess screen time is a good word, and things that kind of came across my head being in the editing room and kind of seeing everything. It's also each character had their own story within the whole story, and then you have your own little I'm sorry, say the question again, but in like a.
All right. So when you're editing, to make sure, like the footage you got, you know, you got what you wanted, you got the
Right.
takes that you wanted, but then as you're editing, like literally like a half second, like a shaving off a shot to that can make such a world of difference.
Oh, yeah.
To
We did that
to making this thing actually sing.
Yeah, where we started and where we were, we definitely took chunks out throughout. And I think just throughout the whole film, because mentioned earlier we were kind of going back and forth in terms of tone. I think it developed into, I guess, take like when you're in the editing room and looking at everything and seeing all the emotions and seeing like, okay, how can we tighten and make sure that the story is true to what it needs to be. There were definitely moments that we had to be like, okay, we're going to cut this because it's not, either it's too much, it's not necessary. It's, you know, I mean, I guess, and that's also one of my favorite parts about post-production is because sometimes you get a really different export than you had initially thought, and that's just part of embracing and loving the film process.
I mean, sometimes that assembly cut can make you cry because you go, "What happened to my beautiful movie?"
Exactly.
Right? You know, and you know, so but this turned out to be a beautiful movie.
yeah.
Again, the film is Just People, making its world premiere at the San Pedro International Film Festival. We've been talking with the director, Beverly Batzel, and the trio of producers, cast members, Giana Califano, Jessica Lucatorto, and Richard Eick. It's been great talking to all four of you.
Great to chat with you as well. Thank you.
Absolutely.